Hey, this is your girl Elsie Clemens here with an episode 4 of Netflix and Chill series. And in this video, I'm going to talk about season 7 we're on. Nope, we're on season 6 of Orange is the New Black. And in my opinion, I hated this season. And for anyone else who wants to know why I'm dolled up, I had something to do today. And I'm showing off my mom's jewelry because she's selling jewelry from now on. Paparazzi jewelry. She's in the background trying to coach me on what to say. This season it was terrible. And the reason why it's terrible is because unfortunately Jenji Kohan needs to end this show. And the reason why the show just needs to end. We got the prison riot, and this season was the downplay of the prison riot where they go from minimum security to maximum security. And in maximum security, they treat you completely different. So instead of having privileges and having all this extra stuff to do, they become more industrialized. We got a lot of just the evil rawness of what prison is. And the reason why I didn't like this season is because it seemed like everybody just turned on each other. We had for 5-6 seasons almost of just plain friendship, and it just goes straight in the crapper once they're put in max prison. And the people who worked at the prison were even more deplorable than the people in prison, which I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it more realistic, but it's too much drama for one season. And they flip the whole thing on their head. The first thing that happens is they're all put in isolation so that they can there's a federal investigation on what exactly caused this riot, and the fact that there's 2 prison guards that were dead, and somebody got to take the fall for it. And the governor of the state basically just told the federal investigators, you need to do something now. We need to get this we need to take this we need to wrap this up quickly before this becomes a crap show. One of the things that happens is Linda, the person who worked for the prison, who was a PR person from last season, the people who shaved her head finally found out that she wasn't a prisoner, she was an employee. And they tried to give her a gift basket and put her under the rug and throw her under the rug so they wouldn't get sued. And of course, Linda, who is a PR person, is probably very smarter than that. And she said, no, you're going to make me vice president. So with her, I don't like Linda because she's too preppy. She's like way preppier than normal. And she's pretty much a central antagonist because not only do all the characters have to deal with somebody got to get thrown under the bus. We also get her trying to undermine a lot of the prisoners' authorities because I guess the way she was treated, she feels like, you know what, I'm gonna just treat you all like animals at this point because of the way you treated me. And it's funny because we got Fig, who is pretty much a corrupt employee who doesn't give a crap, becoming the new prison warden, and Caputo has to deal with him being outside instead of being on the inside. And the reason why this season didn't bode well for me is because it's real, but it's so real to the point where you start to, I guess they wanted you to think about what the prisoners were doing on the inside. And we also get more Frida's backstory. And I went from loving Frida to hating Frida because Frida was like this cool survivalist type of person, and then they turn her into this person who's just selfish and does anything to save herself. Her whole backstory was when she got put in prison, there were these 2 main characters that we just got introduced in the season called Barb and Carol, who basically were sisters who killed their youngest sister because they were jealous of, I guess, the affection that they were getting from their parents. And they killed her, and then they pretty much resented each other in jail. And the whole thing started over a story that they took as their own story. They were both waitresses in this story, and it found out that it was someone else's story, and they manipulated to say that it was their story, and that's how the whole fight started. Plus, both of them were selling drugs. One became an addict, and one is just plain evil and bitter. And yeah, they didn't like each other. And I guess the whole season was supposed to be about anger and resentment because on the one hand, we got Barb and Carol. Then we got Red, who pretty much got thrown under the rug from Frida because she was trying to get in the good part of prison. She pretty much put her friend under the rug so she would take the fall for all the stuff that happened, because she's from the Red is from the Russian mafia, and they just kind of, she just said, you know what, she organized all this. She told Tasty, oh my gosh, Tasty, I'll get to her a little bit because I like Tasty and I don't like what they did to her. They But she threw Frida and Tasty under the rug so she can get put in Florida so she won't be killed by Barb or Carol, which Carol finds out Frida is in jail with them. Because she apparently about 30 years ago, she set it up so she would snitch on them, the drugs that both Frida and Barbara had, so they would get more life sentence, a longer sentence. And Frida's in Florida, Red's trying to kill her. On top of that, all her girls ratted on her except for Nikki, Nikki didn't want to rat on Red, but Red told her to do it because she has a life outside it. She has a chance of getting out of jail, where even if Red got out, it wouldn't bode well for her. So we have all these hate timelines. Tasty's getting the shaft the whole time because she's pinned as the one who murdered Piscatella, when we find out that Black Cindy knew that the police were setting her up to take the fall, when it was actually the police that accidentally shot Piscatella. And Black Cindy had her own arc. We find out that she kind of was whoring around basically in high school, and she ends up pregnant, and she's trying to, I guess, lie about who the father was, and her daughter is being raised as her sister. It's all types of mess. So Black Cindy has an arc, and Tasty's arc I'll get into in a bit. We get a little cutscene first. The first episode was actually pretty funny. It was Crazy Eyes, Suzanne. I call her Suzanne. Suzanne basically had having an episode because she needs her medication, and she has to be the one who gives confession or interview with the federal government, the FBI, finding out what exactly happened, who started the riot and stuff. And Black Cindy tells her to not say anything because Suzanne and Black Cindy know the truth of why Tasty's taking the fall for this, but Suzanne needs her medication, and she's hallucinating her mother the whole time. And I'm bouncing back and forth because it took me a week to get through the whole, to really watch and contemplate the season, because it was so horrible what they did to everybody's character. And she takes her medicine and she ends up in Florida with Frida and eventually Pansaki. I can't say her name. The crack addict who shot up not crack, heroin, whatever. The crazy girl that shot up the abortion clinic ends up in there. And we got Black Cindy's arc, which is her trying to cope with the fact that she's lying and pretty much everybody kind of throws Tasty and Red under the rug. And Tasty gets the worst treatment. She is she's pretty much beaten on her and Daya, who pretty much confessed that she killed one of the prison officers or shot them. So she's resigned to her fate that she's going through the state depression because Daya lost her baby. She's being raised by a couple. She does not believe she's going to get out. Her mother tells her, Aleda, which I'll get to her in a bit, tells her to fight it. She don't even want to fight it. She's depressed, and then she goes into the spiral of getting on addiction of pain drugs from this new prisoner that we know named Daddy, who's a lesbian, and I think she's a pimp and a drug pusher, and we don't know how she got put in jail, but I think it has something to do with one of the prostitutes dying at one of the drug or coke parties she was having. So that's her new girlfriend, which, her being gay, I guess she's like, you know what, I'm being here for life, I might as well be in a relationship with someone. And I kind of like Daddy because she's doing whatever she can to survive, and that's really admirable as her character. But at the same time, we know she's a drug pusher, we know she's a pimp, so she's not the greatest person in the world, but she's not the worst person. Diane going on a shift, she gets addicted to pain pills because she's being abused in jail, and she chooses to be part of a gang, I guess, to survive. Then we got Flaca, You know, Flaka, one of the, I think she's a Charo girl. I'm not sure, but Flaka, I think, is one of the more bubblier people besides Lorna, who I think something's wrong with Lorna, to be honest, because she's pregnant. Not because she's pregnant, but she's got something mentally wrong with her. But Flaka gets her own show. Black Cindy's on there, and she's going through an arc where she's feeling this immense, almost mental type of pain from, I guess, ratting out her friend. And you know, Flocka at the end tells her, hey, I know you rat out your friend, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And she tries to make Cindy feel better, Black Cindy feel better for what she did. Frida is hiding from Barb and Carol. Let me tell you about Barb and Carol, the two new characters. I wish they lived longer than what they did, but they didn't. But these two sisters hate each other so much that they have a rivalry between D Block and C Block. And everybody knows not to cross the two lines because these two girls hate each other, that they have tried to do death threats on each other. One sells drugs, and both of them sell drugs. But one of them is an extreme drug pusher and an addict, and the other one's just plain hateful. She's spiteful of her sister. Both of them hate each other because Frida set them up, and they thought one set up the other. When they found out it was Frida, they thought, hey, let's kill Frida. But these two sisters are evil. They took their sister, locked her in a car, and drowned her back in the 70s because they hate the fact that their sister was favored over they were. And hey, I mean, they're not good people, but they're interesting characters. Like, one was trying to get themselves recovered because Nikki was trying to, you know, help them on the road to recovery. And then we got Carol, who's a friend of Red, and they're both trying to kill Frida. And then they start this prison riot. And let me tell you something about the prison guards. They're not good people. Luschek is just an idiot. He's a complete friggin' idiot. I mean, he doesn't do anything to help anyone. He just, oh, I'm gonna go with the flow. We're gonna do, because they had like a Hunger Games type of ballad going on, like almost like an inmate. It's like fantasy football, but it's like inmate league to see who's going to kill the other. And the whole point is, so they made it so the prisoners turn on each other rather than turn on them and get them killed. And it's so dumb. I mean, you don't treat human beings like that. Even one of the guards said you shouldn't treat human beings like that. Which, ironically, it's the people of color that are not in this inmate fantasy football. It's all the Caucasian people. It was so much going on that I felt like Genji Cohen. I could talk about this in a 20-minute video, but I'm not. I'm trying not to. It's probably going to be a 15-minute video at most. Genji Cohen needs to stop. She needs to end this series because at the end, Alex got out. I mean, not Alex. Piper got out. I don't even like Piper at this point because she just seems like she's just faking it the whole time. But Piper got out of jail, married Alex, so that's her prison wife, which I don't even know how that's going to work considering in the book she doesn't even marry Alex. Blanca, we get all these characters who get sad fates. I mean, Gloria finds out about the prison riot that's going to be set up in the inmate fantasy football league. She gets put in lockup. Luschek runs off before the prison riot could happen, which doesn't happen, by the way, because Barb and Carol kill each other because they're trying to kill Frida, but they get locked in a room together and end up killing each other. We got Daya's resigned to her fate, so she's about to fight in the prison riot, but it doesn't happen. Then we get this other character who has a fake boss named Baddison, who, you know, she wasn't even that great of a character even to begin with. She had a fake boss accent. Her whole thing is, I'm an angry girl, and I lit somebody on fire as a teenager, and I'm just gonna do what I want to do. That was stupid. They just made her an angry character. We had enough angry characters for one season. We didn't need another angry teenager character who's trying to fake being angry to fit in. No, we don't need that. We already got that from Lorna, who was already pregnant crazy. Apparently had pregnancy brain, so she just kind of went with the flow. Then we had Red, who was already angry, who was joining a gang. We didn't need her. She was just an add-on. It was like, then we got now I'm just gonna briefly talk about Tasty. I don't like what they did to Tasty, and it's realistic. You know, they try to put a racial aspect on it. Tasty got pinned for the murders and is getting life in jail for killing not Caputa, what's his name? Not Pensaki. The male big prison guard. she didn't shoot him, but her hands were on the gun, so they figure with her DNA, we're gonna pin it on them instead of pinning it on the cops. Caputo knows what really happened because Black Cindy told him that it was all set up. Because at that point, Black Cindy couldn't even get her friend out because she signed a confession, so she'd be considered an unreliable witness. And she gets the shaft. She's getting abused in jail, and she tries to fight her case, even though the girl told her, don't. Her lawyer said, don't fight this case. You're not going to win. The ACLU tries to get Caputo to make her feel better about the issue, but he was mistreated in jail. So, his confession that Tasty's a model prisoner was pretty much thrown out of whack. And she gets the shaft the whole time. And then when she comes back from jail after being considered guilty for a crime she did not commit, she says she's going to kill herself. And it's like, this is not Tasty. This is not her. She fights for everything. And I guess they're trying to say that she fought so much that she's been beaten down from all the no's that she just resigned her fate. And that's not Tasty's character. And I don't like what Jenji Kohan has done to this show. At this point, we need to end it. And I love Tasty. I love her character. I love the charisma. And for going such a high to be smacked down, it's sad to see. But you know what? This is what happens in jail. Black people are always thrown into the sidelines. Oh, you commit a crime? Okay, we're going to throw you in jail for life because you're just an animal. That's how they treat you. They try to make Tasty look like an animal, and she's not. And the fact of the matter is, it's sad to see that a bunch of characters that are friends are just treated terribly. The only one that got out of this is at the end was Frida, who sitting there eating vanilla ice cream, or not ice cream. She's eating yogurt like, oh, ha ha ha, I got away with this. So guess what? I'm spending life in jail, but I ain't got to worry about everybody trying to kill me. No, that's not how it works in real life. You should be fearful for your life the whole time. I mean, she did try to kill herself in like episode 2, but of all that, we get Daya, who becomes a drug addict, which is not Daya's character. And her mother, who is starting to sell drugs into jail to get her kids out of the foster home, decided to throw her oldest child under the bus instead of saying, hey, you're on drugs, you need to get off the stuff. No, she just kind of like, you know what? I'm sacrificing my oldest child. The rest of them need to get out of the foster home because they're treated like crap. So we're going to do that. But by the way, her kids don't even believe that she's going to do it because, she's been in jail most of their lives growing up. So, yeah, like, nobody this season was that great of a person. I don't even like Pansaki, but I rather her got away and ended up in Canada, even though she was with her rapist. So I guess, she realized that this was a bad idea. I'd rather her get away. I'd rather Tasty. I hope next season, if they continue it, I'm not even sure I'm going to watch next season, to be honest. I hope that Tasty gets to fight this and somebody finds out that this was the actual big setup. I mean, they try to get a certain coroner to do this. I hope that the ACLU asks for a second autopsy on the body of it's not Caputo. I forgot the other guy's name. He's I forgot his name, but he was in a Super Bowl commercial. I hope that they do something to alleviate the characters because I don't like the way this is going. We got Black Cindy, who lied her entire life, and apparently she's a big liar, who finally gets herself together, and then she throws her friend under the bus. We got Tasty, who feels like she's going to kill herself. Blanca was sent by ICE, which I already know that was going to kind of happen. Not ICE, Department of Homeland Security, Immigration. Basically, immigration is coming to get her because she lost her green card and they're going to deport her, even though she wanted to be with her boyfriend, and she probably was going to marry her boyfriend. We got so much going on, and it's all anger. Like, this whole season was anger. The prison guards are trying to get them all killed, and they're definitely trying to kill Daya and what's her name? Tasty. We got them treating them like they're slaves. We got one friend who kind of helped Tasty and felt like she got betrayed by Tasty when she really wasn't. She was just talking about the situation as a whole. We got Barbara and Kara, who didn't even last the whole season, which is really sad. Then we got Baddison, who she just comes off as annoying. She doesn't even come off as a bad character. All she did was trip Piper to break her tooth. We got Laverne Cox's character, who pretty much took a plea deal and $300,000 to get out of jail, even though she could have helped Tasty, but she's like, well, it was all just betrayal. That's all this season was a big betrayal. And it felt like a big FU to the fans, really, because we like these characters and you just went, oh, well, this is what it is. They're all bad people anyway. I mean, yes, in all grand scheme of things, they're prisoners. And yes, we know that prisoners aren't supposed to be treated like, I guess, good people, but at one point these were good people. Prisoners were good people at one time. I'm not saying they're all bad people, but this is not how you treat people, to be honest. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so you're more aware of what's going on in jail, but this is just, you're just taking all this character development and you're just throwing it out the window for drama. This isn't how you treat people. And I'm starting to see why people think, it's not called Westworld, it's called, I forgot what it's called, but it's Australian drama that's similar to Orange is the New Black. And I can't think of the name right now, but I can see why people are starting to flock to the show, because this is not what you do to your characters. If you're going to have character development and make them seem like a bad person, you need a crux behind it. You can't just have Frida like betray people and go to the good part of prison and we don't hear nothing about the backstory or anything to come out of nowhere. And then we get Barb and Carol, who seem slightly interesting, kill each other because they were not locked in the room, but they were planning on killing Frida, but they didn't trust each other enough to go do it. And of course the ride didn't happen because Lorna went into labor, and I guess either Daya, it was Daya decided to switch around the prison lineup and made everybody enjoy the game instead of trying to kill each other, because now the heads of the prison, the blocks are now dead. So I guess we got to figure out who's going to be the new head of the block. But you see where I'm going with this? They made it so complicated, and then they took the character development. Black Cindy never acted like this all 4 seasons or 5 seasons ago. They were all friends with each other, and then this happens. So you're like, what does this got to do with anything? Why is everybody acting the way they are? It almost seemed out of character for everybody to act the way they did. Taystee stayed the same. I will say that. Taystee stayed the same, and so did Alex and Piper, 2 characters I didn't even care about. Lorna, out of left field, becomes a member of the, I guess, gang, which the C Block gang, I guess. Yeah, it was I think it was C Block. It was stupid. It was really, really stupid. I mean, you got these people acting out of character. Nikki probably stayed in character the most. Then you got Red, who all of a sudden now she's vengeful and she throws away her chance to see her family to beat up Frida. That's not Red. That's not Red. Red's gonna find a way to get you later. She plans stuff. She doesn't just go, I'm gonna act on emotions and strangle you. That's not Red. Red is a think first, then act later type of character. And you just flip the script on her because she's angry at Frida, but that's not the way she does it. She's gonna find a way to get to Frida, but she wouldn't do it that way because she worked with Caputo. She would do anything it can to talk to the prison warden so she can get her way. This was just craziness. That's all this was to me. This was a level of craziness. I'm glad they didn't do anything bad to Suzanne. I'm glad that they didn't, because I was hoping the whole time the prison riot was going to happen, not the prison riot, the gang war to happen. I was hoping they didn't do anything to Lorna's baby. I was like, please don't shake this woman's baby, because this is going to be too dark. This is too dark for the series. And thank goodness they didn't do that. I'm actually very happy they didn't do that. But everything else, it was like, no. I mean, I'm glad I guess I'm kind of glad. Again, I don't like Alex and Piper too much to really care, but I'm glad Alex and Piper got back together. Whoop-de-doo, but I like Nikki's story about why, her and her parents, how her parents kind of ignored her and kind of pushed her to the back seat. It was a cute touch. It was a cute touch to see Lauren, Nikki being Nikki. I liked her being a comedian. Yes, she was kind of embarrassing her parents, but her parents weren't good people to begin with. So, I mean, and it's great that we see some realism, from some of the characters, but the prison guards weren't that good people. I mean, we got one woman who's big and she's self-helping, but she's also turning the prisoners against each other. I mean, the only 2 people I actually liked were Taystee's friend and the big tall black guy. And maybe Luschek. Luschek was a little okay. I mean, Luschek was okay, but he's still an idiot. Like, that's the whole point. He's a freaking idiot. Then we got one who's traumatized, who clearly is traumatized from the prison riot, who smacks, not Daya, what's the other one's name? Maria. She smacks Maria, and she's self-harming herself, and no one thinks, hey, we should report this. She should be going through psychiatric evaluation. Nope, we're just going to let her do it. I mean, she was afraid to even cover the prison riot, but she ended up doing it. I mean, it wasn't... I did not like this season. It was just it was too much drama. It was too much going on at once. And I'm trying not to sneeze here. And I don't know. I hope that they do better. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And that's the end of my video. And I will see you guys in the next video for Voltron Season 7, which is going to be supposedly the final season. But we'll see what Netflix does. Bye-bye.